7.
Absolutely. You could not have asked for a better match to, well, nearly close APAC South Stage 1. IG is looking pretty excited. Nate's got a good luck, have fun in the chat. And Digital is getting on it as well. The Mav ban to kick things off. That's one of the hard breaches already eliminated. And if this is a Thatcher, it is. That is going to certainly change the scope of wall denial.
Yeah, quite interesting. We've seen the Thatcher Maverick combos in general on other maps this stage. I distinctly remember a Clubhouse game. I can't quite remember who it was against. Feel like it might have been Chiefs. I can't remember. But it really had a big effect. You know, that combo ban actually can really change the way that attack halves can play out. It can be quite challenging, in particular on a map like Skyscraper. You know, there are instances where you have particular walls that are really key to hard breach. It certainly makes it a little bit more challenging now.
The Kaid band out though is certainly going to make it a little bit easier. You're only worrying about Bandit and Mute in terms of wall denial, which is usually a little bit easy to clear vertically rather than those Electroclaws, which can be very, very difficult to find. I'm trying to look for this Thatcher Mav ban that you mentioned, and everybody.
It was a Clubhouse game, if that helps.
Clubhouse. It looks like Knights versus Chiefs on Clubhouse. Definitely had Mav banned, and it could well have had Thatcher banned as well, unfortunately. Yeah, there you go. So, and believe it or not, Chiefs actually lost that a close 6-8 match to the Knights. Now, the last time IG played against the Chiefs, it was in Stage 3 last year, and the Chiefs actually managed to win out. So, despite a lot of the expectation here being on Invictus, this super team, Chiefs have certainly beaten them before, and there's nothing to say they can't do it again.
Yeah, and look, Chiefs are certainly, they're in the position they are for a reason as well, right? You know, they haven't had the greatest of stages, but they've still had a fairly decent stage. You know, 3 wins, 3 fairly strong wins at that from them, and even some of the losses they had, you know, you just referenced that Knights game on Clubhouse. It was a very close game. So the Knights certainly do, the Chiefs certainly do have the form that they need to be able to beat a team like IG. IG have certainly looked very strong, of course, but they too have had their weaknesses this stage.
Deaton, when Invictus played Elevate on this map earlier in the stage, that amazing match filled with clutches that came down to the final 1 versus 1. It was a very defender-sided Skyscraper. However, 2 of IG's defense wins were clutches. Speakeasy got a 1 versus 3, and Nate got a 1 versus 4 ace. So if Chiefs are looking at that and saying, well, teams are getting advantages against IG, if we can just lock out once we have those man advantages, we should be able to take some serious points home from here and lock in playoffs.
Yeah, it's definitely something that's been happening with IG on a pretty regular pattern this stage. Very good at clutching rounds out. Speakeasy and Nate combining pretty well for that. So far, this attack has been pretty good, honestly. Like, really good progress here already, putting a lot of pressure onto Chiefs' positioning. I really like this repel from Mentalist. You know, it's cut a very important little rotate there between Geisha and those main stairs. So it does make it a little bit squishy for these Chiefs players trying to play around that hallway so close in that engagement. And Mentalist, if he plays patiently there, they have a really good cutoff.
However, this is just a roam clear at the moment for IG, as the bomb site is Exhibition Office. Oh. Great opening pick though. Bouncing always on the forefront of these rounds. Unfortunately, he is the victim. However, there is a good trade back from Worthy, who then retreats after claiming Hysterics, and of course, the E1Ds that will fall alongside the Lion.
It was a good job from IG though, kind of just flushing that out and starting to make some progress. First 90 seconds in. They've kind of cut half this map now, start to push towards Shrine, push towards Terrace, get this pressure into the Office and Exhibition area. But this is where it starts to get a little bit challenging, even though you do have this map control. It's quite funnily, right? In through Dragon towards Office, it's just a single doorway. There's a wall you can breach, but generally it's not the way it goes. And same with Terrace in towards the Office Exhibition side. You know, it's squishy. So you have to start to try and open external walls, and that's where these attack bans could come in.
However, there's a significant lack of reinforcements on this bomb site as a C4 claims Mentalist. Boydie does manage to find that one. No doubt thanks to the black eye cameras, but Nate is in the building and already found his first pick. He went nuclear the last time he played this site, and he almost finds a second Worthy taken low. Tries to finish him off. The revive comes through from the Thinker. Nate is back on his feet, but it may not matter as he's put straight back down in the dirt. It's only Jigsaw left. He finds one. 2 more to go now for the new and up-and-coming young player. Recently joining APAC South. 2 nades to go out onto the stairs. No diffuser in sight. Players maintaining a crossfire, 1 downstairs. Jigsaw has to take these ones, but there's no chance for him because the Chiefs have absolutely fallen back. A familiar sight for Jigsaw as he once again cannot get it across the line against the Chiefs, who open up this map with the first round.
Yeah, really good round from Chiefs, honestly. And I like the patience at the end. You know, Jigsaw definitely almost had a bit of momentum to ride off as he pushed through sight, looking for those final kills. But no, the Chiefs playing very patient, not giving IG a single inch to make that happen. And really strong opening defense from Chiefs there.
Despite IG getting the opening pick, the Chiefs had a great read. I like the way that Worthy just re-peeked and refragged his teammate Bouncin when Hysterics got that opener. And playing off that advantage, the Chiefs managed to pull out the round, albeit it was a tight one. Gotta say, strange setup from Chiefs. Like, very few reinforcements are actually committed between the bomb site and then the connecting rooms. For example, Dragon and Garden, both of the walls there were unreinforced, but I guess they committed their reinforcements elsewhere and extended their roam, and that seemed to work out.
Certainly did. See what they do with their hold of Karaoke T, but I definitely would think that based on the way they held that previous site, yeah, they'll probably extend across in towards the opposite side again. You know, you really have to have that presence early so that your opponents don't get that early map control. A lot of these kind of attack procedures with Skyscraper is often about taking the opposite half of the map on the same floor as the bomb site, for example, and then maybe you look at working some verticals, so it could be down in restaurant and such. So I think for Chiefs, it's going to be about contesting early. You don't want to give IG any free kind of map control and free progress to give them a lot of time to put that pressure on in that mid-round.
And on that, I'm a little bit surprised we're not seeing the Mozzie. I would have thought that all the drone denial you could possibly want is ideal for a situation like this map with so many choke points, and it's a lot about the map control and the time management. But the mute is still there, in tandem with the Bandit. Oh, I like this for a Mentalist. Destroying one of those mute jammers, or actually rather a Bandit battery, enabling a breach on 4-Nate. But like you said, this is only the opposite side of the map. This is only step 1 in a long list of directions that IG are going to have to go through in this attack.
Still without that opening engagement as well. Looks very close there, though, for Hysterics and that repel, but either way, good progress from IG. Here they go, they're in. Start to push towards Shrine and cut that half of the map that we talked about earlier. And speaking of half, we are about halfway through the round. So yeah, the time management's not too bad, but it's really the next part that starts to get challenging. And even trying to take in through Drum could be challenging, because you can see there, Chiefs with the rotate from Geisha. Going to hard hold that. Got a nice crossfire set up as well in the doorway of the Drum. So this is, yeah, a really critical, difficult challenge. ADSs as well to protect it. This is going to be tough for IG.
As the timer continues to bleed, IG is going to have to figure out their plan. Are they going to go and rotate to Geisha, open the reinforced wall? They've got Speakeasy and Nate, both to do so. Of course, they would then have to deal with any wall denial. At the moment, they're just funneling into the choke points. Chiefs have a really, really nice setup here. And for the first time ever playing Skyscraper in an official match, they look very prepared.
Super prepared. And in fact, Digital, with still 2 Toxic Babes, he can deny entry in through that drum door for the majority of the rest of the round. And you could just saw there, IG had to rotate away. They know that's essentially a lost cause for them. So already, that's a really huge move from Chiefs. It's going to put so much pressure onto the remainder of this attack. And really, they only have 30 seconds to make it work, Dev. I just don't think IG have done enough to give themselves an advantageous position right here.
20 seconds and ticking for Invictus. They find the opener. Boydie goes down. Player on the stairs. That is Bouncin. Starts to get aggressive. Does a little bit of damage onto Hysterics. But Chiefs have so many players below. It begs the question, can IG flood the site? Perfect pinch onto Digital. And now it is looking difficult now for the Chiefs. Nate has to start planting that diffuser. We go into red time. 0 on the clock. And IG have to protect this planter. Ethan stays downstairs. And that diffuser goes down on the ground. A 1 versus 3 retake now for the Chiefs captain. And it is not to be. IG a 15-second execute that they make work perfectly.
They did. That was just fantastic coordination from them as they kind of exploded through to sight. They did a really great job, you know, as we were saying, didn't feel like they had much of a setup to give themselves an advantageous position. And conversely, you know, Chiefs, unfortunately, kind of let that one slip. You kind of saw a lot of angles being watched that they really just lost the advantage to. I think a key one was Digital in Drum. You know, he went for that peek towards Shrine, didn't get that pick, and then he just got pinched out. It's just well executed from IG on that.
Yeah, and while we did praise the Chiefs setup, I feel like in the late round, a couple of too many players were committed to downstairs. For example, Ethan, who ended up having the retake with a 1v3. Like, he doesn't have a C4, he's playing Wamai. And there's no significant information on site to go for wall bang or floor bangs planted aisle. It felt like if Chiefs just had a couple extra guns up on that bomb site, they would have been able to hold on.
Does feel that way. I think important in the grand scheme of things as well for IG to have pulled that one back. You know, I think especially on a map like Skyscraper, you don't want your opponents to kind of get away from you and you have to chase down a lead. On top of that being a defender-sided map so far, I mean, we've only seen it played once, seen it played a little bit in APAC North, but it's a fairly similar affair where the majority of rounds are won by the defense. So especially for IG, if they can get 2 attacks, that's pretty good. 3 would be better, and then obviously anything above 3 is absolutely outstanding.
Pressure's on for Chiefs then. Might have started strong. You've got to keep consistent throughout. And that's the thing that both of these teams have struggled with, isn't it? We've seen some pretty amazing games from Chiefs, pretty amazing games from IG, but there's a reason why they are still fighting for a playoffs position all the way into their final match of the stage. It's because they haven't been perfect.
For both of these teams, I think stage 1 was never going to be perfect. They've both made pretty significant roster changes. And look, there were 2 teams that were in the top 4 pretty consistently last year. Referenced that a lot. And they've made some of the bigger changes the entire league. And I think it was always going to be a bit of a 50-50 in terms of how stage 1 went. But I think in both counts, it's been fairly successful so far. You know, the new recruits have actually really shown up and performed quite well.
No doubt, and of course it helps for IG when you have the best player in the region on your squad, Speakeasy. I think that it's safe to say he can have that accolade on his side. Statistically, he has just always been so very dominant. Even when we have other players like Onigiri who would compete for that, even, you know, if we extend to APAC North, players like Yas compete for that, but we've had some phenomenal performances, and let's be honest, a lot of the players on both of these rosters are absolutely in the top 5 on various different statistics on CCG, but Jigsaw goes down very early. That is a very cheeky angle. You can see Jigsaw was aware of it. It didn't save him.
He did the classic, like, can I see someone through that? And then it was just too late. Yeah, really unfortunate. But look, really well played from Chiefs. And suddenly, look, 50 seconds to go on the clock here. IG are going to have to try and make some moves. And that they do. Hysterics is going to try and push out in this vertical position. Knows there's a player just on the other side of that doorway. They can equalize here. Gives them a better shot coming into the final phase of the execute. Chiefs, though, they still have so much control all around this bomb site and above, most importantly.
Once again, a very, very slow and late execute for IG, but they are in the 3v5. Plant's going to have to go down. Finally, Invictus find a pick. Hysterics to cover now, and he has the perfect angle for it, but Worthy is just simply better. Now the 2 O's players go head-to-head in the site, and Ethan gets the better. It's now only Mentalist now, having to protect this diffuser in a 1 versus 4, and he's just not able to do it. That is an easy ninja defuse for Ethan, and the Chiefs can find their second round.
Really well played from Chiefs. Honestly, they once they got that advantage on that pick onto Boydie, they did not give up any map control. I think that was super critical because, as you saw, even though IG did get in and get a plant down, there's just nowhere for them to go after that. It's not a really open bomb site. It's quite squishy. And if you haven't already, you know, pre-obtained that kind of vertical control or even more of that horizontal map control, yeah, it's going to be tough to even hold it out in post-plant. So well done to Chiefs, actually, to really capitalize on that and execute a really nice retake.
So that's 2 out of the 4 that we would expect Chiefs to get, right, on their defensive side. and 1 out of the 2 for IG. So essentially, both of these teams are halfway to meeting par for the course for their specific side. And we are only halfway through. So I think you do a little bit of maths there and you say, this is going to be a close game. I think we've already seen that just 3 rounds in. Both the teams have a lot of skill and a lot of talent, and they're looking on fire tonight, even when minor mishaps can lead to a team losing a round. A couple of repicks coming out. Get Speakeasy on the Finker. That's always a good idea. But for me, the curious one is the Ying from Hysterics.
It's quite interesting. See how it's used. Doesn't look like it's going to be used in a, like a rushy capacity. We don't see a lot of Ying played these days. I've seen it kind of played with rush executes, or maybe if someone wants to do like a chaotic hatch drop, that can often be facilitated by a Ying play. So maybe this is going to be about obtaining an entry or using it to even push through some of those choke points. Like that's a lot of what Skyscraper is about, especially again, if you struggle to get those external walls open. So maybe it's just about facilitating a bit of shove in the later rounds.
Well, let's not forget the setup that we saw from Chiefs on the previous T-Room defense, which was with all of those ADSs and Digital playing inside of Drum. Of course, now we are back to Exhibition Office. We originally saw Chiefs win their first defense with that extended roam hold, and it seems to be that IG are placing a lot more emphasis on the bomb site directly. Now, they previously did have open walls, open reinforced walls directly onto the side, but that wasn't where the majority of their push came from. They went for a map sweep, and it doesn't look like they're doing so again here.
No, it definitely doesn't. And this is really good progress, honestly, getting these 2 really critical walls open nice and early. It's going to open things up a lot more. It means now within the actual office, it's going to be hard for the Chiefs players to be able to anchor in around the bomb site, and also even just that rotating off the balcony towards the top of the stairs. I think that's really critical to have open as well. So this is already really good progress from IG. Just about capitalizing here, and even a player like Worthy can seriously be cut off on this side of the map and forced to kind of rotate the long way below and have to come back up the stairs.
But IG do seem to have some control below. An attempted nade through the floor from Speaky as he just did a bit of damage onto Boydie. Who's feeling that pressure? Look at him holding this angle onto that outside external wall. And here comes the first Candela and the second soon to follow. Hysterics is about to make a play. The reply is Digital's smoke canister and the peak and the thorn canister. Wow. What a collapse and what a strategy from the Chiefs. But the Speakeasy continues to make it look easy. Jumping straight on in, finding 2 picks. It's not over yet for the Chiefs, though, as they make it a 2-on-3. 30 seconds remain. And IG try to recompose.
Still coming out on top as well in terms of the man count. So Nate, you can see it. He's just waiting for the timing here. Everything is ready for IG. They just want to make sure they pull this off right. And with less than 20 seconds, you do not want to make a false step.
Mentalist on the forefront, but doesn't see the player behind the bar. That's Digital. Speakeasy. Oh, Digital, hello! He finds the double. It's now a 1v2 for Speakeasy. He's found his 3rd on the round. And now with less than a second to go, he has no time. And the Chiefs can just narrowly win that round and take a 3-1 lead.
Man, these are such close rounds as well. It's it's pretty insane. It's just reminding me a little bit of what it was like with Elevate IG on Skyscraper. I think we had a lot more rounds that weren't quite this close, but ultimately it ended up feeling this close. And Chiefs coming out to that 3-1 lead. It's to be expected on that defense half, but IG are within an inch every single round so far. This really could have been a bit different on the scoreboard, but yeah, both teams playing quite well, and it's kind of delivering the kind of match that I was expecting.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs.
Also just going to remark upon the Thorn device kill. What are those, the traps called? I always forget the name of the Thorn traps, but those explosive gadgets, man, they can be really frustrating. I think when she first came out, it was, I think, perceived that she wasn't going to be very strong. People maybe pick her because she's got a shield and a good gun. The Razor Bloom. There you go. Thank you, Guz. I've noticed myself dying a little bit more to those recently in the old ranked, and we just saw Mentalist full victim as well. And it's all about, you know, combining utility and combining a situation. Who was it? I think it was Mentalist jumps in the window, trying to take a fight, getting smoked, trying to push on his Candelas, and he's got a Razor Bloom behind him. And that is the combination there is what killed him.
To locate a bomb and defuse it.
Yeah, look, I think it's quite interesting, right? Like you can use that gadget so many different ways. It's really funny to watch the reaction so often. As soon as players see it kind of get triggered, they just want to bail. You know, like not often does a player kind of push through or anything like that. So it's quite interesting the panic that gadget can set off. And so even if a kill doesn't happen from it, it can create enough panic that maybe you can capitalize and get a kill regardless. So yeah, it's really interesting seeing Thorn starting to get more play and actually seeing that gadget start to have that kind of effect.
Oh, good early pick for Worthy. Mentalist feeling that pressure, and iG looking a little bit lost here. Not quite as much teeth on this roam clear just yet.
And now I think especially after losing Mentalist, they're just regrouping a little bit, and Chiefs not really giving them the chance to do so by just constantly running out. It was bouncing before, taking down Hysterics to half health. I like the pressure that Chiefs have been able to put on iG on this one and forcing them to have to readapt a little bit. They're trying to use this Lion to help them with their positioning and rotates, but at this stage, can't say it's had the greatest of effect, but Jig moving in through to Dragon and Shrine. It's going to be some helpful positioning already for iG.
Absolutely, but for the Chiefs on the flip side, they found their pick, they got out of dodge safely, and now they've forfeited back to the power positions that they have set up. No doubt we'll have Digital once again holding in Drum, and there he is. ADSs and magnets to cover. Out comes the burn, and what a great read from iG. They just know exactly what the setup was last time around, and that nade goes out and clears the deployable shield that was supporting Digital from Geisha.
We saw this last time, you know, Digital played such a pivotal role in the delay here in through Drum. So if he's not able to hold this out quite as long as last time, he's going to have to retreat or ride to death like he did in the previous attempt. Only one smoke bay left as well, so that decision is going to have to be made quite soon. Ethan with the attempt to back him up, but you can see those blue outlines. They're really surrounding that position. Bouncing just trying to keep them in check in Restaurant. As we come to the final 30 seconds, Dev, Speakeasy has finally equalized it. That is Digital, so that's a pretty key position now for iG, taking in through Drum and Shrine.
Oh, Ethan, no. The housing is going to make him not see Jigsaw. And now, oh, what a shot. That's a sharp one from Boydie. Is it going to get refragged, though? Because he might have just given iG a chance. Now, just Hysterics and Speakeasy will try and hold on. Worthy can find another, and he gets eyes on the final player as well. That's 4 rounds on the defense for Chiefs, and an excellent comeback from what looked to be a little bit scary.
Yeah, far out. Chiefs really starting to run away with it a little bit. But again, I don't know, like I feel like I'm not that worried. It's just how we've seen Skyscraper play out. But at the same time, you know, Chiefs are playing well. They're definitely playing well. And I think that's going to be scary for iG. I think in particular scary for iG because Chiefs can actually build momentum. And it doesn't matter, like even if it's defender-sided, you know, halves on this map. If Chiefs can carry some momentum through to their attacks, if this ends up being a 5-1 half, they only need to win 2. You know, like that momentum they carry through could be enough to get them those first couple. And that doesn't matter. They've just won the map already.
Yeah, and, you know, following on from the previous game that iG played on this map, it was against Elevate. And remember, 2 of their defense wins on that match were clutches, a 1v3 and a 1v4. Chiefs could not be happier right now. Coming into this game, if you said if you had to guess where maybe iG might underperform on their defenses or on their attacks, I'd probably say their defenses, because the expectation is high on defense. You expect it to get 4 rounds, but iG showed that they have weaknesses in their defenses and they have tended to rely on clutching. So if they're now not even able to meet par on the attack, I have serious concerns for Invictus, and I think that Chiefs will be able to not only win this match, but therefore make playoffs. Currently, the Chiefs are the team in 5th place on the standings with iG just ahead of them. And if Chiefs are able to win this, and Elevate can win their next match against Fury, which by all rights they should, then iG will be the team sent packing.
It's unreal to think. And look, it's just classic APAC South, isn't it? Playday 7, basically a 4-way dance for multiple positions in the playoffs. It's always good fun, and it's proving to deliver, honestly. Like, there's been a couple of surprising results already tonight. And I guess in one way, this is already surprising, the fact that Chiefs have jumped out to quite the lead. But in one hand, I guess not too surprising. Again, I don't want to harp on it too much, but is the defense half? I guess I'm just super curious to see what it's going to be like for IG on their defense. But to wrap up your point, you're right. Like, this is such an important game for both of these teams. A win gets them into playoffs, hands down. It's as simple as that. So obviously both can be battling hard for these points, and Nate getting that opening pick on Worthy is certainly going to be helping IG.
It's a huge player to take down as well. Worthy's had a phenomenal couple of rounds and currently the top fragger, not only on his team, but also tied in the server with Speakeasy. IG have completed the first step. Top floor on the east side. Control! What a shot, though, from Bouncin'. And he's looking for more now, going downstairs to flank and see what he can get in Restaurant. Ethan's taken down Mentalist. Chiefs have man advantage and the round advantage. Nate's going to lose his life here. Oh, no. Invictus. Okay. Oh, no. Bouncin'. That was a bit sketchy there. Nate's now just to regroup with his teammate. How worried should we be?
I mean, that was definitely a bit of a missed opportunity for Bouncin'. That was unreal. Like, you were already speaking like Nate was dead, and definitely he should have been. So this could come back to haunt Chiefs here. Good from IG, though. You know, they're around site, but once again, they've really lacked the map control needed to be able to secure a safe plant and even post plant, and now they're really lacking the man count. 2 versus 4, not an easy situation to be in. They're either going to have to go for this sneaky plant, or they're going to have to try and push out Chiefs members again. And once more, Nate's just gone in. He's in this corner. He's going to get this plant down, Dev.
Uh-oh, very scared now for Chiefs. Bouncin' not given the opportunity he needs. Now just hysterics. He has to win this 1v4. That is textbook shoulder peeking from Bouncin'. And apparently I shouldn't have been worried at all. The Chiefs have now managed a 5-1 defensive half. That is a phenomenal scoreline and going to fill them with confidence going into the second.
Yeah, definitely strong. Half balance or not, it doesn't matter. A 5-1 scoreline is really strong. 1 round away from securing OT, 1 point, or 2 rounds away from just straight up winning. It's certainly achievable no matter the odds against you. I think this is certainly a concerning point now for IG. This is a massive comeback that they have to surmount, and they just don't have the momentum on their side. So huge credit to Chiefs. It was a great defense half. Also, I think IG just really struggled on those kitchen barbecue attacks. They just never were getting the map control they needed to actually help them in post plant. It doesn't matter, they were getting plants down, because as you saw, both times they just absolutely crumbled on the retake.
Certainly making you a little bit scared for Invictus. Especially if I keep hammering on this point, right, Raven, like they did struggle on their defense against Elevate. They only won 2 of the rounds by clutch. And so I'm starting to, I don't know, is it fair that I've got a cause for concern here? Am I just over-exaggerating it? What's the go?
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I think it's a good point, and, you know, it's always hard to kind of cast our minds back to that game, but you're right, you know, a lot of rounds, it's not like IG played bad, but a lot of rounds were won on some pretty hectic clutches, and it's not a sustainable way of winning, right? Like, it's one way to win, but you can't expect to be clutching, 2 or 3 times a Playday, and that's not going to be constantly getting you the victories. So you're right. Maybe that's all part of the plan here. Chiefs looked at that VOD and they thought, you know what? Like, IG, they may have ended up winning that, but they didn't look as strong as it seems like they were. So I think that's kind of part of the notion of going to Skyscraper in this match.
Let's see if IG can redeem themselves now, though, on their defensive side. The Chiefs will be filled with confidence. There's still a lot of pressure on their shoulders. Losing, I mean, the thing is here, IG are ahead in the standings. So even if IG lose this game, there's still technically a world in which they get playoffs, and that's if they still get a point. Chiefs cannot say the same. They have to win this game. Doesn't matter in OT or not, they have to win it.
And that would come down to the last game in your scenario where Fury would have to beat Elevate in regulation for their first win of the stage to keep IG in playoffs. So certainly not a fate that I think IG want to prescribe themselves to. So they're going to have to fight hard here to bring it back on their defense half. Hysterics is the first one to have taken damage, but there still hasn't been an opening kill almost halfway through the round. But Chiefs, you can see they've made some progress and started to put some pressure onto IG at least.
Interesting little mini game going on at the moment. Remember the Thatcher Mav ban? We're seeing that come into play here when The mute jammer is really giving Digital a hard time trying to open up this wall. I don't know whether Nate tried to trick that. Okay, scared there when a Yana clone just ran straight through the site. Real chance here for the Chiefs. They've got all this control below. Ethan still has a nade left, and of course Worthy's got the skeleton key. IG are just waiting patiently. They don't want to overextend, and they know that time is on their side.
Definitely do, but this positioning is looking pretty good from Chiefs. That being said, Hysterics has found an opening, at least traded back by Ethan. 45 seconds to go. 4 versus 4 makes it a little bit tough, and this could be huge for
this is
Ethan
huge.
with this nade. This could be not a double, but it does tag them deep. That's going to be helpful, at least when they push through to execute. And,
how is that not a double kill, mate?
He's been able to push up and get a frag at least anyway, Dev. And final 30 seconds. Chiefs are looking pretty hot on this attack.
They are, but I mean, man, tell me that was not a double kill for Ethan. Boydie on the window now, and the Chiefs, well, they're going to need him to get in and plan eventually. There's 3 players from IG still left alive, and a real possibility of clutching this. Boydie tucks into the corner and starts getting that diffuser planted. Chiefs have good crosses, but Jigsaw gets the better of Digital. The trade nearly to come through, and it's going to need to be a retake. We've seen it from the Chiefs before. Will we be able to see it from IG in a 2v2? Now a 2 versus 1. Bouncing so fortunate that the plant position means he can protect it from the window, but he's going to have to face 2 players and vulnerable to the jump out below. IG need to play this perfectly, but Nate gets prematurely jumping out the window, and now it is Speakeasy versus Bouncing, and it is a game of baiting. Speakeasy gets baited, and Bouncing can easily clutch this round out. There is no way Bouncing could peek now and die. It doesn't matter. The round is won for the Chiefs, and match point has been found.
Huge, absolutely huge. Chiefs now, I just need 1 more round, like you said, and IG, they need to be absolutely flawless. They do need a 5-1 half to salvage this, and they have to get all 5 of those rounds in a row. Look, props to IG though, that retake, very close to being successful. If they'd gone for the defuse, as soon as they got the last teammate of Bouncin, actually would have been able to do it before Bouncin got on the rappel, but of course, they don't have the information we have, so they were probably hunting for that final player. I think they also quite miscoordinated that jump out. There wasn't much of a bait was Bouncin to be worried about, right? Unfortunate.
It does make you wonder. Let's say Bouncin was repelling the window and he peeks up, kills the guy defusing at the same time that Nate jumps out, and Nate actually does get the kill. So it's literally just Nate left in the server, but he's outside. And he's got to run back inside and get all the way up to the diffuser and then disable it for 7 seconds. Would he have had time? Would he have had time? I don't know if he would have.
Yeah, I don't know either, to be honest. It's hard to say. We've never really seen it, right? So we've got no frame of reference to kind of time it against.
Oh, well, regardless, IG are unexpectedly dropping the ball here. Let's be real. This was a far cry from the scoreline I would have predicted. I was expecting a close game, and I was expecting IG to probably win it based on the game we saw that they played against Elevate. But Chiefs, they've never played Skyscraper in an official match before, and they have hidden all of their strategies. They have also developed a lot of really good strategies and clearly practiced this map very well. I think they also have a quite clear idea of how IG are playing this based on the VODs that they would have been able to watch as well. So the Chiefs match point on their side doesn't mean the job's done yet. It certainly is not. They need a win, otherwise playoffs is off the cards.
Absolutely right. So Chiefs, can they do it here? Can they just get it booked in 1 more round, not worry about it anymore? We've seen this happen so many times where, the team down will make this kind of comeback. IG is certainly a capable team of doing so. So you really don't want to let them get even a couple of rounds and build that momentum on their side. I think there's something to be said in general about momentum. I feel like I've harped on it about a little bit, but it's just something IG have not had this entire game. Absolutely zero momentum. They got that 1 round earlier, pretty close one, and that's really it. Chiefs have done such a good job at even in those close rounds playing to absolute perfection to not let IG kind of even have a chance in this game.
But if you are sitting there right now saying, there's no way that IG managed to bring this one back, you would be the fool, because we've seen it many times before. Worthy trying to disprove me, though. He does find that first pick, too, so just looking stellar right now. It's going to have to be a mountainous effort from Invictus Everything that they try and do on this defense, every play they try and make, the Chiefs seem to be ready for it, seem to be punishing that aggression. But Mentalist finds one, and Worthy goes down. A belated trade, but a trade nonetheless.
Well, Jigsaw answers with another one as well. So at least IG on this one have the man advantage. Still a whole minute of play though, and we've seen Chiefs really punch their weight in terms of the frag count. And there it is. Boydie just deletes Mentalist through the wall there. Starting to get very squishy for Jigsaw, and squishy indeed. That frag grenade is going to find him. And just like that, IG's man count flipped in reverse. Chiefs are looking like they could be able to close it out here.
I would say it's not going to happen when Speakeasy is still alive and in the server. 3v2, but the time is ticking for Chiefs. A player below, a player on balcony, and a player on the opposite side of the map. Fortunately for Digital, there's no mute jammer on this external wall, and he can open that nice and safely. Pressure on from the window as well. Does have to be worried about action from that open window now. And 15 seconds, Chiefs have got to move. Speakeasy is the man that we always look to, and he finds the first one, but he's going to have to find two more. 1v1 for Speakeasy. Ethan versus Speakeasy, and Speakeasy clutches it. Another 1v3 for him here on Skyscraper, and that keeps IG alive.
There's just something about observing Speakeasy in those moments. I don't know, it just feels like it's just not losable for him. It's insane how often he pulls out those kinds of plays, and think about the pressure there. 1v6, he loses that gunfight, they lose this game, no chance of playoffs, I think, right? So like, I don't know, you want to talk about pressure that round, definitely.
Really haven't looked like either.
That's a good point, and I think the thing that's a bit worrying about this game is it feels like it's the IG that we saw in the struggle phase, where if you look down the scoreboard, there's only one man that is absolutely flying, and it's Speakeasy. And that's what we were seeing in, like stage 3 last year in particular. It just felt like so many games. I don't like to use the term carried, but, he really did bring them through some rough times to still keep them in fairly competitive standing. And a lot of the games this year they've been winning hasn't been the case. Like, it hasn't had to all be him. Nate very close in the ratings for the entire stage to Speakeasy, and even Jigsaw not too far behind either. They actually had a full team to kind of lean on, and I guess to your point, it just hasn't felt quite right so far in this match.
And if you don't think Speakeasy is carrying, he's currently on 12 kills. The rest of the team combined, that's 4 players, currently on 13 kills between them. So if Speakeasy is nearly out-fragging the entire rest of his team, and we've played 8 rounds, something's wrong. Something is very wrong with IG. It's the opposite of what we were talking about during the Direwolves game, where it was so well-rounded, all of those players firing on all cylinders, and you can see almost the same here on Chiefs. Look at that. 3 players on 8, Bouncing on 7, and then the support, Digital, on 3, helping out where he can in the fragging department, but that is not his job. Now the Chiefs try and repeat their first attack round win, T-Room karaoke, and Invictus get another shot at defending.
At least initially too, very spread out from IG. There was actually a player just down here in the delivery area, and he has ran off. There's a player also playing around top of those main stairs.
Just pull the trigger. Just pull it.
Worthy. Oh, no. Nate's going to win out on that one. Absolutely unreal. I don't know. I guess Worthy couldn't see him. And look, pretty important for IG, honestly, to be winning these opening kills right now.
It's easy for us to say we've got the outlines, but for Worthy, he just could not see. He could not hear. He didn't have quite the game sense to go for that pre-fire. And as a result, he loses the angle. Nate finds a pick. And might I add, one of the biggest differences between this game on Skyscraper and IG's previous game on Skyscraper is Nate. Man went, like 15 kills last time, and now he's fallen apart. He's really struggling. Fortunately, he does find one. Ethan, caught in a crossfire, I believe. Was that just Mentalist? Not sure. Big pick now to go back with Worthy going down. Mentalist locks it in. And there you go. Ethan goes down. IG looked to be coming back here.
Yeah, and this is what we were kind of talking about earlier. They're starting to build something here to work from. This is looking good. They've got the man count. Just under a minute to burn as well. Again, being on the defense, of course, the clock is your best friend sometimes. So it does put a bit of pressure here on Chiefs. And Nate with a tight angle. The Nate, though, doesn't quite get it to Boydie as Boydie picks him off, and that gives it an equal man count. That could be very costly for IG in the grand scheme of things and might be stacking up here, Dev. 1v3. It's all on Mentalist's shoulders.
For the game now, a 1v3. Mentalist has to make this retake work, and there are the flashes. Another one. I mean, he's gone. There's no chance. Absolutely no chance. Mentalist manages this one. 3 players to find on the balcony. There's Bouncing, and that's the game. See you later, IG. Chiefs go to playoffs. Despite everything, a 7-2 and one of the most dominant scorelines we have seen in APAC South. Congrats, Chiefs. You're in.
Yeah, look, unreal